So for this first recipe, I use something that I use all the time, and it's actually one of the only ingredients in this recipe. It's the Oakos Triple Zero, which means no added sugar, no fat, and no artificial sweeteners. So now I'm going to get a bowl, and I'm going to weigh out approximately 170 grams of this yogurt. Now this yogurt has a naturally more vanilla taste. It's way better than all the other Greek yogurts I've tried, and I just highly recommend using this brand. Next, I'm going to get my ingredients, which are going to be blueberries and strawberries. And I'm going to weigh out around 150 grams of strawberries. I find that this is around the right amount for the recipe. It works really well. You have enough strawberries, but you don't have too much. Now I'm going to cut the strawberries into quarters. This allows me to have smaller bite-sized pieces rather than bigger ones. Now once I'm done with that, I am going to measure out around 50 grams of blueberries. You can use any fruit of your choice, but I just find strawberries and blueberries to work really well with this particular recipe. Also, I forgot to mention, chia seeds are always a great addition. They add a little bit of protein. They're a great health food. I use chia seeds a lot. And now I'd recommend mixing the strawberries and blueberries separately along with the chia seeds to avoid any clumping of the ingredients. Now once I'm done mixing, I'm going to flatten them out. Now I'm going to open up freezer and I'm going to put them in there for around 20 to 30 minutes. I actually had mine in for 30 minutes, and the longer you keep it in, the more frozen it's going to get, vice versa. Now when I got it out, it turned out really well. It was super frozen, nothing was moving around. It was froyo. Macros for this froyo recipe are going to be 270 calories, 19 grams of protein, and 39 grams of carbs. And you can see with the spoon that it is solid. Now for recipe 2, I chose to make peanut butter banana pancakes. And this is something I make a lot, mostly for lunch, not breakfast, I know. And we're going to need liquid egg whites or just normal eggs will work, oatmeal, PB2, a banana, and finally our sweetener. I'm going to use this sweetener for a sort of icing I like to do at the end. Next, I'm going to get my oats and I'm going to measure out around 1 full cup of oats into my blender, or 2 servings. Once I have that in there, I'm going to put the lid on, and I'm gradually going to increase the speed of blending the oats. This allows the oats to separate into smaller pieces and not get as clumped up in the bottom. I also like to shake it around to, again, make sure there's no clumped up pieces. And I'm going to keep increasing the speed here. Now once that's done, it should look something like this. It should be pretty fine oat flour. And once we have that, we're going to add 1 serving of egg whites Now I accidentally added too much, but it should be around 46 grams of egg whites. It doesn't make that much of a difference though if you go over. Now I'm gonna weigh out around 12 to 13 grams or 2 tablespoons of peanut butter powder. I like to use PB2. And from there, I'm gonna pour the PB2 into the mixture. This is gonna help thicken it up a lot and give it that peanut buttery flavor. Next, I got out a banana, and I'm only gonna use half the banana. So I'm gonna cut the bananas into smaller pieces, and I'm gonna use that as my topping. I'm gonna put the banana to the side, and I'm gonna mix together my 3 ingredients. Here I kind of messed up and forgot to put the top on, so that was kind of annoying. And I had this issue at first. The issue was I needed to add some water. Making mistakes is very common and it should not be frowned upon because it happens to all of us. Now when that's done, it should look like pancake batter, kind of thick but also runny. Now's the fun part. So I'm gonna spray my pan with oil, and then I'm gonna pour my mix into the pan. Now after that's done, I'm gonna add pieces of my banana into the pancake. Make it look like a nice silver dollar. We're gonna let it cook until you see it sizzling and browning around the sides, and I'm just gonna get my spatula under there a little bit. Also, if you start to see any bubbles up here on the batter, that's when you know it's ready to flip. And here I go. Now once that one's done on that side, I'm gonna flip it over just to check it one more time. And once that's done, I put it onto my plate. Now for the second pancake, you will always want to reapply your oil so it doesn't stick and you don't get anything too burnt. So here I had some trouble getting the batter out, but I just got my spatula to help me. Then also there were some separated pieces, so I just used my spatula to kind of rejoin them. Finally, I'm going to add my banana strips on. Now this side was a little more crispy. That's typical on the second pancake, just because there's not as much oil. Now here the bananas really got caramelized. Next, for our topping, you could say, we're going to use around 85 grams of the Greek yogurt that I used in the first recipe and some monk fruit syrup. Now you're going to stir that until combined. And then now we're going to spread it onto our pancakes. This looks like a dessert, but it truly does have great ingredients. This recipe is high in protein, has no added sugar, and has low fat. Now I'm going to get into a little bit of a taste test just to see how it is. I can confidently say that this is one of the best things I've ever made. It is super good, and I hope you give it a shot. And the macros for this are going to be 500 calories, 35 grams of protein, and 83 grams of carbs.